All right, the gradebook. As you can see in these modules, I posted a whole lot of different items for this particular session for Canvas Gradebook and the OneDrive. And there's a lot of things. And I'm going to leave this up after this session is done if you want to access it and say, what was he talking about there? And there's going to be some things in here that I'm going to cover, but I'm not going to read it word for word. So if you want to go back and follow it item by item, this will be available for you as well for the time being. But I'm just going to kind of go through this, and I'm going to be skipping back and forth to an actual gradebook that I have open here so that I can actually show you instead of just talking to you about it. The first thing that I have posted here is an overview to the gradebook. This is taken from Canvas. They have a Vimeo page that is a whole list of different help topics that pertain both to the instructor, administrators, and I'll just actually go there and you can see that they have their own designated Vimeo page with all sorts of resource topics. Okay, so if you're ever not sure of how to do a particular thing within Canvas, as you can see here, hey, I want to learn more about the chat, or I'm a student and I don't know how to use groups. I mean, you can even direct your students in this direction, and there are a ton of different, as you can see, all these different pages there. Hello. Different help topics, okay? Everything from discussions to using rubrics to the Canvas Commons, which I'm going to have a session on as well. So check that out. Another item that I recommend if you haven't visited it yet is the Canvas community. So if you have a question about Canvas or how to do something in it, I'm here to help. But if you can't get a hold of me for whatever reason, you always can go to community.canvaslms.com, and there are a ton of people that have probably already had your problem a lot of different times and have already answered it. And if they don't, you have the ability to post it as a new idea for Canvas to look into and the engineers to look into to add it as an offering in Canvas. So those are just a couple quick help items there, the Vimeo page and also the community. And obviously we have Tier 1 support available to us with Canvas. If you've never used that, it is awesome. I always just go down to help here and go to chat with Canvas support, and it is very prompt. It's not like you are third in line, you are now second in line, and you wait and you wait and you wait. You get help instantly. Simply click on the link, it opens in a new tab. You start the chat, and you have to put in your name and use your work email. Now here's the part where, I want to walk through this just quick because there's a part where it can be a little confusing. We'll talk gradebook. I'm going to kind of prank call them, which is bad, but that's what I'm going to do. And the severity of it, it doesn't matter. It's not like, well, if I don't say it's really urgent, are they not going to attend to my call? I always just leave it as a casual question, start the chat, and as you can see, don't let me down. There, Trevor B is right there to help me, okay? And sorry, Trevor, but I just hung up on him, okay? And I feel awful about it right now, but I'm sure that we'll get over it, and Trevor will as well. Yeah. So hopefully Trevor doesn't help me again, because I'll have to explain myself. So anyways, that's that, and there's obviously some other items available. You can make a phone call if that's what you feel more comfortable doing. If you just want to report a problem and then walk away from it, you can do that as well, and they will contact you by email. There's also a link to the community there, so if I said it too fast and you didn't get it, you can always click on Ask the Community, and in a new tab, it will take you to where I had taken you before. So lots of options for help within Canvas. This isn't for me to say, hey, help yourself. I'm not here to help you. But at the same time, sometimes you just don't feel like contacting me, or you can't get a hold of me for whatever reason, and this is an opportunity for you to help yourself, and they're very available. All right, on to the gradebook. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to, using my Canvas intro test course, I'm just going to go over the gradebook. Now, within the gradebook, I have a lot of different test users. That's basically all I've added, except for the one exception, which is myself. And I just want to make you aware of some different features that you might be overlooking. Some of you use the gradebook available in Canvas. Others of you use the gradebook that's available in like Pearson, My Math Lab, things like that. But a couple main items that I want to point out. First of all, as I said, I like to do these using content pages, these overviews, and then I can just click on next and go to my next content page. I am not going to fine-tooth comb all these different things I posted. This is more for afterwards and for individuals that are not here to kind of point out and diagram the different things that I'm going to cover with you here. And so the first thing that I want to go over are the different setting wheels that we have. And the first one, when you go into your gradebook, is just this main settings area. And if you click on this, you get this drop-down window right here. And there's a list of different things that you can do within the gradebook, such as viewing the grading history, set up the group weights. You can also set up your group weights in your assignments area. Okay, and so I'm just going to walk back there quick just to show you where that's at. One thing about the gradebook is when it opens in kind of like a full screen mode. Your course navigation goes away. All you need to do is click on these lines right here, and it will bring back your course navigation. To set up your groups, your assignment groups, all you need to do is go to assignments, and you can click on a plus group to get your first group there if you don't have any. But if you have them, you can weight your grades based on your groups simply by checking this, and it will bring up your different groups. If you're wondering what I'm talking about as far as groups, you can see, and mine's not organized very well. I'm sure that you have assignment groups, some of you that are organized a whole lot better than this. Okay, I am not leading by example here. But you can see I have a week 1 group, I have an assignments group. Some of you might group yours by tests or projects or something like that, and then add your assignments accordingly. And then you can go back through and you can actually set weights for those different groups. Once you have those established, you can modify those weights, those group weights, within your gradebook by simply going to this settings wheel right here and going to set group weights. And you can see just by clicking on that and clicking on that, you have the ability to update the weight percentages. Okay, so a pretty simple little feature there if you need to do an adjustment within the gradebook on your assignment groups and the weights that they carry. Some of you are worried about, well, if I see the student names, I might be biased to their grades, okay, because I really like that student. Okay, that student does a great job of contributing to the class, always has a great attitude, and I just feel like I'm always going to give them the benefit of the doubt. That's human nature. There's no shame in that. Versus another student that is always in a bad mood, is always questioning what I'm doing. I just worry that when I go to grade their work, I'm going to be biased. Well, you can hide the student names, and then you don't have to worry about that. Or maybe you like doing that. We won't tell. Okay? Okay, but you do have that option right there, and you can always go back and show the student names as well. You can arrange the columns by the due date if you'd like to do that. You can also arrange columns by the assignment group. So we go back to those groups that we saw and that you set up, and you can actually arrange those assignments based on the groups that they're in. If someone didn't turn something in yet, okay, and you haven't entered a grade, you see a little dash there. All right, you have the option to leave that as just kind of excused right now or not graded. You can treat that ungraded item as a 0, okay, and that will obviously adjust their grade because we have a lot of things in here that are ungraded. Okay, your students may freak out if you have a bunch of assignments or items entered in the gradebook and you treat ungraded as 0, and you'll just have to explain, well, you're just going to be building up from an E.
How do you get it to not treat it as 0?
So right here in the settings, right now it's not treating it as 0. If it has a check mark next to it, which I'll show you again, see it there, the check mark? That means it's treating it as a 0. If I click on it again, it removes the check mark, and now it's not treating them as 0s. So the students still have poor grades because I haven't graded a lot of their work yet. I must be slacking. And in assignment 1, they all failed it. So they're off to a bad start. So they all got like a 0 out of 20.
And how did you get it to say fail?
That is in the assignment settings. And actually, this is a good time to show you how to adjust that. So within the gradebook, you can also adjust your assignments and change your assignment settings. Just be careful where you click. So if I go to like out of 20, I can't click on that. Okay, that's just going to change nothing really. But if I go up just a little bit to the name of the assignment within that column heading and click on that, that will take me to the assignment itself. Okay? From there, I click on Edit, and that takes me into the assignment settings, where I can give them different instructions, I can adjust the point value, I can move it to in a different assignment group, and I can also display the grade as, different items depending on what you want. And then obviously change, how they're going to submit. As far as the actual pass-fail, I want to change that to points, like that, okay? And that should change it to, if I go back to grades, I now should have the ability to change it to a number. Or you can enter a percentage based on how you want to adjust that. So, just to redo that quick, click on the name of the assignment, go to Edit, and from there, change the display grade as. Okay. Before I had it as a GPA scale, because I was kind of monkeying around with the fact that you can actually change this grading scheme, and you can even enter emojis into your gradebook. Yeah, if you get the emoji keyboard out. So like if someone fails, you can put a turd in there.
Yeah.
I know. That was actually the example that Canvas provided. Less than a 60 is the turd emoji. Or you can even go back to smiley faces, back, way back in the day. And your students, that might confuse them, but might also bring back fond memories of coloring and things like that. So, but I'll switch that back to points, and we'll save that, and we'll head right back to the gradebook, and you will see that that has adjusted, and now all those things are zeros. For the sake of my gradebook, I will change this one to 20, and now I will have one student that's now passing my course. Tommy Knocker is. I did not come up with the names of the test students, except for my name. All right. Also, if you want to see students that are no longer active, you can activate that. Concluded enrollments, these are just some features that you probably won't really use much. I don't know if any of you have used these two items right here, but should you need to, that is there and that is available for you to use. One other item that I think is often overlooked, or maybe you just didn't know about it, is this notes column right here. You can actually add a notes column within your gradebook, and if you click on it, you can add different items. Hey, on 9/20, this student, I had to enter this note on 9/20, this student has been late to class 2 times. This student opted out of the today's meet activity, that's why it's just ungraded. They didn't have to do it if they didn't want to, and if they didn't, it's just excused. Okay, and you can just go down here and you can add notes. If you don't want to have the notes column, you can hide it. All right? If you decide that you want to bring it back, well, you can, and your notes are still there. All right? Totally up to you. The question was asked, what is this total column doing right here? That's kind of nice. I like that, because normally by default it's way at the end of my gradebook. Here's the problem that I've been noticing. I don't know if it's a glitch or not, but for some reason sometimes this little arrow doesn't show up. Okay, and that's why I just did a refresh to get it to show up. And now I can move this back to the end of the gradebook. See, it's no longer by my notes. What I did was, and I'll show you again. See, I go to total here, and if you go in the column heading for the total, and you click on that little arrow, you now have the option. You actually have 2 options, because some individuals like to just view them as total points. And you can do that as well. Other instructors like to have their students view that as a percentage. And there you have that.
But this sets the grading scheme.
For those of you that just rolled in, there's Jimmy John's over here if you'd like some Jimmy John's. For those of you that are paying attention online, we already ate all the Jimmy John's and they're no longer available.
They were delicious.
There is a perk to coming to the face-to-face training. There's also a perk to sitting in your pajamas at home and just watching it. Pluses and minuses. That's what life's all about. So those are kind of the universal settings for the gradebook. And then one thing that some of you might not have known existed was there are individual settings for the gradebook, within the gradebook, for each different assignment or activity or graded item, I guess I should call them. And to find that, all you need to do is go to the column heading for the particular gradebook item, and an arrow shows up. Why that arrow doesn't show up all the time, I don't know. I don't know if they're worried about clutter. But most people don't find that unless they stumble upon it. And when you click on that, you get a whole world of opportunity as far as that column goes. And there's lots of different things that you can check out. Most of these are just pop-up boxes that provide you with, so it's not actually going to do anything. So, for example, you want to click on assignment details. It's going to give you a quick overview of the statistics for that assignment. Okay, the average score, the high score, the low score, how many have been graded. Okay, so if you're looking for some quick analysis to give to your class, like, hey, on test number 1, here's the stats. You don't have to worry about figuring that out for yourself. I know that you can also access that in Crocodoc with the Speedgrader, and I'll go over that too, but this is just kind of a quick access way to find statistics for an assignment. Which is kind of interesting in the fact that they call it assignment details here, but when you get into it, they call it grade statistics. I don't know. Then I'm going to skip over this for now because I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to spend some time on it. Is the actual Speedgrader, which some of you are familiar with and others are not, and I hope that all of you are familiar with it by the time we leave today. And then this feature right here is kind of cool. If you haven't stumbled across this yet, it's called Message Students Who. Now, some of you have found yourself trying to message students that haven't turned in an assignment yet. Or maybe there's a retake opportunity, and why haven't they taken advantage of this opportunity yet? Well, I have to go in and send a message to all these students in my gradebook that haven't taken advantage of that. You don't have to do that anymore. All you need to do is go to Message Students Who, and there's different set items for what you can message them about. I want to message the students that haven't turned this in yet. I have 25 students in my course. There's like 15 that haven't. I don't want to go through and select each student individually. Well, this will do it for you. So you can say, if you haven't turned it in yet, and it will say, these students haven't turned it in yet. And you can send them a quick little message with motivation. Or you want to be positive and give positive reinforcement. So there's some students in this course that have scored over a 50%. Just Tommy in this case. Okay? And this will automatically pull all the students that scored over a certain grade. Now, this one's a terrible example because so many students scored so poorly on it. So I'm going to switch to a different one. Students who scored more than a 5 out of 10. Let's raise the bar a little bit. A 7 out of 10. Good job. I can tell that you put in the work. And there you go. A quick little message to the students that got a 7 out of 10 or higher. Just like that. Now, I'm not going to send it because these students don't actually exist, but notice that it also will show the grade that the students got on that particular assignment, if you were wondering. You can also say, well, Susie Q, she got a 9 out of 10. We're going to exclude her, and you can get rid of them too by simply clicking on the X mark there. All right, I haven't found a way for you to quickly add a student to this. You're just going to have to adjust, I guess, your field right there. So, nice little feature there that I'm trying to spread the word on. If you want to spread that to your colleagues as well, that'd be awesome because I think it can be useful as a quick way to send both positive and, I don't know if it exists, but negative reinforcement. Moving down the list, you can set a default grade. Okay, if you want all the students to just get a general participation grade for something, you can do that by setting the default grade. All right, good job. Everybody showed up to class today. They all took part in the discussion. We're just going to give everybody a 20 out of 20. And you can click on Set Default Grade, put it in 20 out of 20, and everybody will automatically get that grade. Okay, so a quick way to do a quick little whole class assessment if you wanted to do that. If you're interested in curving grades, click on that, and it will give you a quick kind of overview on setting the curve. I'll go to this assignment 3, which is a little bit, oops, wrong one. A little bit better for that. Now, you have to have an actual point value in here in order to set the curve. So you see, like, this one right here, you don't have the option to set a curve. All right, this one either, because it's out of 0. Okay, you actually have to have it out of a certain amount of points. As you can see, this one's out of 20, and now we have the option to curve grades. All right, and there's some things that you can do with that as well. The one thing that you need to know about this is you can't undo it. All right, so be mindful of that if that's something that you want to do.
If you curve it, you can't undo it.
That's what Canvas tells us.
Even if you delete them all and put them all back in?
Well, there is that. And last but not least, this mute assignment feature. And at first you're like, well, why? What do you mean mute the assignment? I guess I don't understand the purpose of that. And here it is, an example that I'll throw at you. So you're working on grading assignments. In most cases, students get emails saying, or notifications saying, this was just graded. If you don't want the students to see it one by one, if you want them to all just be able to see their grades or get their notifications at once, you can mute the assignment. And what that does is it doesn't send out any notifications. Even if your students are in their gradebook right now and hitting refresh and hitting refresh and hitting refresh as you grade, they're not going to see that there's a grade entered. Okay? Until you go here and unmute the assignment. So it's kind of a way of releasing grades all at once. So maybe you do it for like a final exam or maybe a big project where students are eagerly anticipating a grade for it. And there's probably a lot of different examples that you could throw out there as far as why you would do that. But it is an option that is available to you.
Can they still see it? Like if they go to their grade book, they just don't get a notification, or they can't see it?
They cannot see it. They can see the column is there for that particular assignment or grade item, but they can't see their grade. So you entered the grade, you entered some comments for their grade and why they got that grade. They will not be able to see that until you unmute it. So it's just a way for basically all your students at once to get their grades versus, I got mine, why didn't I get mine? You know, and I don't know if it's something that's a huge deal. I'm sure we could come up with a scenario where it would be vital, but in most cases, it's not a big deal, but it is an option if that's something that you want to do. And it's very easy to do, both ways, both muting and unmuting. Any questions about those two features right there, those different drop-down items? Obviously, there's some other buttons that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. Individual view. This basically allows you to go student by student through. You can jump around to assignments, which I could see maybe if you just want to grade one student at a time. Maybe you're behind on your grades and that's the way you want to do it.
You want an example?
To go back, you have to switch to the default gradebook. And then you can import grades, should you want to do that. You can also export grades right from here as well. So if you want to either have a printout or move it to an external file or something like that, you have that option. Yeah. So speaking of Speedgrader, that is an option within this drop-down right here. So you can click on Speedgrader. But not to confuse you, but you can also access the Speedgrader by going within the modules. And let's go to this assignment 1 right here, because I know I submitted something under it. So it'll be a great example. And you can actually access the Speedgrader over here on the right-hand side. I highly recommend, if you haven't been using Speedgrader, to start using Speedgrader. And if anyone wants to tell me why I'm wrong, I welcome that as well. And I'm not going to argue with you.
It's fabulous.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
so much faster.
Now, before I get into the nitty-gritty of it, there are some buttons up here that you can use to your favor. If you want to go back to the gradebook, you just click on this little button right here and it'll take you right back to the gradebook. You also have the ability right here to mute or unmute an assignment. Okay, it looks like you're going to be adjusting the volume. That's just not the case. Okay, you're going to be muting or unmuting. If you're wondering, how can I be better at Speedgrader, there's even keyboard shortcuts that you can click on, and they will pop up and allow you to use both arrows and different items on the keyboard to move from student to student, leave comments, change grades, and get into the rubrics as well. If you're wondering about rubrics, I will be doing a training at some point on rubrics and outcomes as well, but I figured it's smarter to start with things like Gradebook first before we get into more technical items like rubrics and outcomes and all that great stuff. You even have a link to Canvas support right here within Crocodoc, or Speedgrader I should call it. It's with the same items that I showed you previously. And then you also have options for Speedgrader.
Oh, he's in the Speedgrader. All right.
Yep. So all you're going to do is either go to the assignment itself, and over to the right you see Speedgrader. Or within the gradebook, you can click on the column heading for that assignment and click on Speedgrader. And there's yet another way. If you actually click on the score itself, you can go to more details in Speedgrader, and that will take you to your Speedgrader as well. So there's a lot of options to get to Speedgrader. The nice thing about Speedgrader is it will keep a running average of your students' grades from a course level. And so that some of you probably find yourself like, come on, let's get that average up. Let's get that average up as you go and paying attention to that. Hopefully that doesn't influence your grading. But Speedgrader is nice as well because any attachments will display right here. So if I go to, and none of these students did a very good job of turning it in. I did though. And so you'll see that the paper actually displays right here. If you go up to this, you can jump through the pages of it very quickly, or you can scroll through them as well, but that's just not as efficient. Okay. This is open right now, but for yours, my guess is that you will have to actually click on comments, and you can actually annotate the paper right from here. So if you click on comment, and then there's different ways that you can add a comment. Okay. I do not like your title. All right. And so you're like, well, you know what? That was pretty mean. I'm going to delete that one. You can actually click on the comment, hit delete, and get rid of it. But maybe you're someone that seems to be more artistic, and you find yourself wanting to, I used to love using red pens when I was an instructor, and I just can't anymore with all this technology. Well, good news. You can still bust out your red pen, and you can make comments, okay? You can draw a line, okay, and things like that, and you can complete it. You can also add text to it right there. This title needs work, okay? And you can add those things just like that. And if you're like, wow, that's really mean, you just click on it, and you can delete it and get rid of these things, just like we did before. Okay, so you have the ability to add comments, annotate it. You can still download it as well by clicking on this button right here. You want to zoom in. Okay. Yesterday I went to the eye doctor and had my eyes dilated. I would have needed this feature as I was trying to read things. Zooming in as I'm trying to read articles as my close-up reading vision is slowly going away. So as you saw, you can jump around from student to student, or you can just click on these arrows here and go through the list of different students. And you'll notice if you look closely in this assessment area, as we click through that, grades that have already been entered will show. If we want to update and add grades, we can do that. We can also post comments. Okay, and the beautiful thing about this now, whereas if we wouldn't have clicked submit before, okay, it would have just kept that comment there. But now we go back and it auto saves it. And now we have the ability to submit that comment to that student.
That's nice.
One other thing that you can do is you can always give a file attachment if you want to upload a file attachment. So maybe you still downloaded it because you love to annotate in Word still. You can do that, save it, and then you can attach that file here. See attached file for my comments and annotations to your piece of work. Okay. You also have the ability to add a comment, like with your voice right here. But initially you'll just have to do some allowing and wait for it to connect. And look at that. Hey, this is an online class and I really want to, let you see me. So like I'm really giving you the comment right here. You have that ability to give a video comment and post it right there so your students can view that. And even give it a title. Last but not least, you can also just do some speech recognition. If you're not really feeling like typing, you can just hit record and it will throw some form of what you just said in the comment box. Just be careful with that. Make sure you proofread it. Okay? And if you post a comment and you don't really mean it because, man, they actually didn't turn anything in and I gave them a nice work. I didn't mean that. But guess what? They probably already got a notification. They may have checked that comment already. And you would have to say something like, disregard my last comment. I didn't mean it. And then you can submit that, and they'll get that.
Yeah, so that they know where to go.
What Val is saying is that she will actually add a comment that she added comments for students to view the feedback. And so that might be something, at least until you get your students trained in that method, that's how they have to view the feedback on a paper that they might submit or should too. I'm in here as both an instructor and as a student.
Okay, right, so that should be. Okay, then in that list, find the assignment. No, on the left, and then right in the upper right-hand corner, use feedback.
There you go. One other thing that you may be wondering about is this little green box right here. And I'm actually going to go to the gradebook and go to Speedgrader. But you can see it keeps kind of following us around. It's not a floater in your eye. It actually exists there. So if I go to the Speedgrader, that's Turn It In. For those of you that haven't used Turn It In before, I would advise turning it in, or turning it on. Turning it on. And you can do that in your assignment settings. You don't have to use it, but it's good for your students. And it's not just a, hey, I'm going to bust you for plagiarizing. So that's why I turn that on. Students really can use this to say, wow, I didn't realize that the sources I was using were running that parallel to what I was actually typing in there. I need to be more careful. And they can actually get, and you don't have to really do anything here unless you choose to, but it will actually run it through the feedback studio and give them a score. It's like golf. The lower the score, the better. Okay. Here, this one got a 2, and it will actually point out where it thinks it found this from. Well, it found technology in from somewhere else. Well, chances are we're good to go on that one. Okay. But another feature that this has is this feedback studio here, where you can actually, there's preset annotations that you can drag and drop right into line items of this paper. So you're working along, and there's something missing here. Well, right here, I'm going to drag that right there, and I can also, get rid of it very easily. Okay, but I can also click on it and I can add a comment too. Okay, so this is another way to, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because it's not really what we're talking about, but it's another quick way for you to actually provide feedback to your students, and they can access it just the same way that you just did by going through the Turn It In little green, or it could be red, or it could be yellow item there, depending on what their score is. How to turn it on? Okay, so what you're going to do is in your assignment settings, let me just get there quick. When you go to edit for your assignment settings, when you get to the area of how they're going to turn it in, the submission type, okay, I always go with online, and then I click on all these different boxes, and then there's another checkbox for enabled turn-in submissions. That's all you need to do is check that box, and Turn-In does everything for you when they submit an attachment. It'll actually, and it doesn't happen instantly. It will take a little bit, but eventually you will get a Turn-It-In. And if I go back to the gradebook, for each student that has turned something in, you will then see kind of a key or a score here. And if I go to check out one of my June 2nd submission, came back red, because what I did was I went online and just copied and pasted a document and turned that in just to test it out, and it really works. So here you can see an example of a high score. A high turn-in score is a bad turn-in score, and you can really simplify the grading process for yourself. As, hey, look at your turn-in score. I'm not going to look at this.
Right.
Okay, you obviously have some things that you need to change around. And if you think that turn-in is wrong, we can have a chat.
I let them, I say up until the due date, you can submit, fix, resubmit,
Yeah.
until you're happy with your score.
Yeah, so if you get a 99 and it shows up that way, I'm not kicking you out of college yet, okay?
That's right.
And I don't kick you out of college anyways, but I'm not going to,
I'm not gonna contact
you get the idea. It's not good to get that score. Make some adjustments. So, and turn it into something that I can spend some more time going over if you're interested in putting it to use. As you can hear just from instructors talking about using it, it has been very beneficial. So if you have questions, let me know.